So far we have looked at the first gem, which is the gem of the Buddha. And now let's look at the second gem, which is the gem of the Dharma. The Dharma is also a Sanskrit term that has many meanings. For example, the Dharma represents teachings of the Buddha. For example, the teachings which were given by the Buddha during the 49 years after he attained enlightenment, over 300 gatherings. Another meaning of the Dharma can be said to be, say, writings in the Buddhist Canon. And the Buddhist Canon consists of the sutras and commentaries, or what we call the Abhidhammas. And these were compiled by the disciples of the Buddha after he entered nirvana. And the compilation, or the councils, were led by one of the Buddha's most important disciples, Mahakassapa, and also Ananda, the attendant of the Buddha. And together they led the disciples of the Buddha and compiled the Buddha's teachings into what we call the sutras. And many years later, the commentaries were also written by those who studied the Buddhist sutras and so on. And another meaning of the Dharma can also be said to be the embodiment of the Buddha, or the spirit of the Buddha. For example, when you talk about the Dharma, you think of what the Buddha had taught and the messages that he had tried to convey. Furthermore, the Dharma can be also like a mirror that reflects the deepest truth within us. For example, it shows us the most true parts of our hearts or minds. In other words, it helps us to free ourselves from our delusions and sufferings. For example, you pick up a mirror, and the mirror presents the most honest image that is placed in front of you. And once you get a very clear image of what your mind is like, you will gain more strength in dealing with your delusions and sufferings, and therefore free your mind from this. And furthermore, another meaning of the Dharma can be said to be the truth that guides us towards enlightenment. For example, when you learn something about the truth, it is the moment that you touch the truth, and it is the moment that you understand it. And within that very moment, we ourselves begin to change. This is like we remove a hand that covers a torch. When you remove your hand, and the light becomes redly shining on you, and that's what the Dharma does. The Dharma helps you remove that hand of darkness. Therefore, after discussing what the Dharma is about and its very basic concepts, we can also say that taking refuge in the Dharma is like building a waterworks in our heart. And this waterworks cleanses our mind and body. And so this spiritual waterworks within our mind is able to quench our thirst for the truth, and it would also be able to refresh our minds. Basically, we're using water as an example for the Dharma is because we understand that water is the source of life. And water gives rise to all forms of life in this physical world. For example, when you need to grow a plant, you water it. And for us to survive, we need to continue to drink water. And the same goes to the Dharma water. While water is the source of life, the Dharma water is a source of enlightenment. And this source of enlightenment provides for our spiritual growth. It gives us the truth. It provides safety for us. And it helps us grow spiritual-wise. And now, who can actually be the Dharma? Some of the examples may be the temples that you visit. When you go to the Buddhist temples, you see the Buddhist sutras that you find within the temple, and you can also come across teachers of the Dharma within the temple. Therefore, they can all represent the Dharma. And so while there's the temple, there's the sutra, and the fellow Buddhists, be it monastics or lay Buddhists, which you meet, they can also be a representative of the Dharma. Therefore, anyone who can teach you the truth and help you grow spiritual-wise can all be regarded as the Dharma. Or put it in other words, the Dharma is anything that can guide us towards liberation. And therefore, this is the Dharma that we're talking about. And thirdly, let us look at the final gem within the triple gem. It is the Sangha. And if we were to explain the word Sangha in very simple words, it means a harmonious and happy Buddhist community. And within the Sangha, they provide a role model for human behavior. At the same time, they also provide a link between common beings and the saintly. Here we have to be aware of the fact that the members of the Sangha had joined this community out of their free will. In other words, nobody had forced them into joining this group. It has to be a choice that they make out of their own free will, so that it is them who wishes to join this community so that they can follow the same path, follow the same teacher, and practice according to the same set of concepts. In other words, they join the group to have unified thoughts. They follow the same rules. They observe the same precepts. And also, when they join this community, they lead a life based on equal sharing of common goods. As we look at the word harmonious community, we can see that harmony or harmonious has two basic meanings. The first meaning is that the Buddhist nuns or the Buddhist monk, they live in harmony with the same principle or idea that lead to enlightenment. And the second meaning tells us that the members of this harmonious community lead or follow or conduct daily behaviors by following the 6 ideals. In other words, they follow what we call the 6 points of reverent harmony, which are the following: harmony of views, harmony of morality, harmony of benefit, harmony of aims, harmony of speech, and harmony of being. Let's now go into each of these 6 points of reverent harmony. And the first one, harmony of views, represents harmony in thoughts, views, and ideas. Just like what I had said before, we follow the same set of ideas. We follow the same principles. We think in the same way accordingly. And secondly, harmony of morality means that the members of this community uphold the same moral principles, and they are all equal in front of these principles. In other words, these are the precepts which the members of this community follow or observe. Therefore, everybody is the same. It doesn't mean that you cannot say that a certain set of precept doesn't apply to a certain person just because he is a senior member, or just because he's a male, or just because he's younger, or so on. It doesn't apply that way. It applies equally to everybody. And thirdly, harmony of benefit. It means that all members of the community live in the same way. So no one has anything more than anyone else. There is an equal sharing of goods or anything that has been provided within the Sangha.